back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a daily podcast which we smash apart the films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe into 1-minute chunks so we can analyze them in scrupulous detail. I'm Kyle Olson from the Road to Infinity podcast.
Hey, and I'm Rob Cabasco, and haircuts. So, when I grew up, I have just a wonderful memory of this. Okay, so I grew up in a small town of Pennsylvania, and literally not even a 5-minute walk from our house was this tiny little barbershop, Ralph. That was his name. I forget his last name. He was right next to, was on 8th Street in Wyoming, Pennsylvania, right next to the Host Company #1 volunteer firehouse.
I feel like I want to have the Stand By Me song music playing in the background.
You really
when
do.
I was a child.
Yes. Oh, this is totally great, right? And it was just wonderful. And he lived with his wife above the barbershop. It was a classic barbershop. It had all the classic posters of 1950s men and all their different hairstyles. You could look at the poster and say that one. He had all the crazy smells and everything. And Ralph was just this awesome guy. I mean, he was fantastic. So today, for the last several years, my wife just cuts my hair because it's convenient. It's easy. I'm not picky. I was blessed with my mother's hair, which just grows, and I don't care. Haircuts are fun, but I'm just every once in a while you go to I've never been to a Supercuts, but I've been to Floyd's 99 or whatever the trendy place is to get your hair cut. I mean, that's all I just, that's it. It's good.
Early in our marriage, I had finally had enough. My hair had been getting shorter and shorter every year. I was just tired of it. And then one day after a super stressful day at work, I was like, let's just cut it all off. And so basically my wife just took a set of clippers and just basically gave me the buzz. And I was like, oh, that's what I liked. And so for years, that's all I did. So I did the same thing. I basically just had her do it for years. And that was fine for a long time. And now we got to the point where it was with other kids and stuff, it's hard to, go in the garage and I just basically just started going to Supercuts actually and just paying $10 for somebody to give me the buzz. But only one time did this ever go badly for me. So I've told the story many, many times, even though she hates telling it. It's not a private story because I've told it to pretty much everyone. She was pregnant with our first kid. I was getting ready to go away. I had made plans for the weekend. And she wasn't that pregnant. Folks, I'm not, I wasn't 8.5 months and I'm I'm out of here for a guy's weekend.
She's going to love hearing the levels of pregnancy.
Yeah, well, I know all pregnancy are pregnant. But there's every people who've gone through this know there's a difference between when you're 5 months pregnant and when you're 9 months pregnant.
That's true.
There's a big swing. So
yes,
this was about 5. This is about 5 months. Noticeably pregnant, but not, about to give birth. So I had made plans with my friend, and so I was going away for the weekend. So she was going to give me a haircut. So we were going through, and everyone who has lived with a woman who was going pregnant knows about pregnancy brain. The pregnancy brain is that thing where, because all these things are going on in your body, your brain is kind of rewiring itself, and sometimes the memory is not the most fantastic thing. So we're sitting there in a chair, we're having a conversation, we're just casually talking everything, and she's getting stuff ready, and so then she grabs the clippers and starts at the back of my head and goes zoop right up the top. And I went, "Did you put a guard on that?" And she went, she basically had taken just the clippers, no guard, and just shaved me straight up the back, bald to the skin.
Did you just have a reverse mohawk? That was what you had?
Pretty much. Yeah, because zoop right up the back. No. And so because there's nothing else you can do, she had to do it all. So I basically I got a military cut for that time, high and tight. She shaved me bald on the sides and back and left some on top. And I was ready for deployment, sir.
Do you have a nice head, though? I don't have a nice head. I have a lumpy head.
I don't have a nice head, no. Luckily, I had a hat. So there's a whole convention where all the people I met and autographs I got, it's me wearing this ridiculous hat.
That's fantastic.
But, every woman who has had a child and had her husband go away, and it goes, well, that's what you get for leaving your wife home for the weekend.
I knew that was going to come back and bite you.
So I got what I deserved. So, yes,
now,
I've had some bad haircuts in my time.
I've always wanted to get a Flowbee. And if you don't know what Flowbee is, that's an attachment that they sold on TV for a while that you could attach to a vacuum cleaner, and it would let you, but I don't have one of those. No. Now, if you're listening, and you're saying to yourself, guys,
I thought I tuned into let me check my phone. I think I'm listening to a Hulk podcast.
Isn't this a podcast about the MCU?
I thought we were talking about Hulk.
And understand, that we've talked about this. When you do a minute-by-minute podcast,
Yes.
not all minutes are created equal.
No, you're going to hit some dull spots.
Because this
is like it's remember those of you who've been with us for a while know that our most infamous episode is probably the hallway scene, where it's just a conversation. We're kind of in that same territory because it's the same two characters having a domestic moment for a full minute
involving a haircut.
Yes, this time involving a haircut.
Yeah.
Here in minute 66 of Louis Leterrier's 2008 film L'Incredible Hulk. Le Hulk Incredible? I don't know. So yeah, there's not a whole lot of action going on here. But before we get into that, we got to go pick up where the minute starts, which is not in the hotel room, but is in fact the end of the news report. One of the things I thought was interesting when she's talking, she mentions that they were delayed in being able to continue the search because of problems in the Smoky Mountain National Forest. And I was sort of thinking, well, we're in Virginia. So I had to break out the map and look in. And the Smoky Mountain National Forest is a little bit lower than what I talk about. So I don't know why that would interfere with what's going on, because we don't know exactly where in Virginia Culver University is supposed to be.
Right.
But the Smoky Mountain National Forest is sort of between North Carolina and Tennessee. I don't know how that corresponds to it, but
she related it to the thunderstorms, and I'm wondering if maybe they're saying the weather pattern, these thunderstorms that originated over the Smokies.
Yeah.
That's how they got formed, and then they rolled in.
Okay, all right. I'll take that.
I'm stretching a bit, but
maybe
that's probably...
It's that weird kind of thunderstorm that forms over the Smoky Mountain that happens during broad daylight and doesn't land on William Hurt. Is that the kind of storm that rolls in from the...
That's exactly the issue. So, yeah, it's... No, I know. I mean, it was a weird... Well, it's an odd reference, too, because like you said, yeah, that's when she wraps up the report. It's just like, oh, yeah, thunderstorms. Smoky Mountains.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sure. That's fine.
Yeah. We cut to an establishing shot. And this is another one of those, this is the mysteries, because in the research I was doing, and I found out that I'm coming in too late, people have been trying to figure out where this is, and they still don't know. Like, there is a whole website devoted to locations in the MCU, like where they shot them, and they can't figure out where this was. They guess that it's probably stock footage. That's the common wisdom of it, too, because you see some of the highway behind and stuff, too, but no one has been able to figure out where this was. According to the commentary, they never shot anything in the United States of America. Nothing for the Incredible Hulk was shot in the USA, and so that would include this. There's a nice crane shot in this as it lowers down and the lights come on. So I have to think that this was actually shot in Canada.
No, and remember we've talked about the 5 Mile Fork sign,
right? And
this is where you get the full shot of it. So in the distance, basically as like the promotional, it's some sort of promotional neon sign.
Yeah,
it's the full 5 Mile Fork. Well, that's we've talked about this in a previous minute. That's Virginia. So if it's not shot there, this was created somewhere.
Yeah.
To get all these shots for this sequence, who knows? It probably looks nothing like this anymore if this building even exists today.
Yeah, true. I mean, it could have been because it's not the nicest facility.
No.
So maybe it did not survive. Some of the fallout of the late 2000s. It sounds like there's a war or something. I just meant the economy was not great.
No, it's.
Let's talk about the haircutting scene. Betty gives Bruce a haircut. And that brings us to the end of our minute. So thank you all for listening.
I was about to say end scene. And that's it.
I mean, there's a little bit of nice interplay here too. I mean, I did pull some lines out too because it's very domestic, which is nice.
Yes.
I mean, it's a nice quiet moment for the two of them who have not had a lot of quiet moments lately. So Bruce says, "Not too short back there, okay?" And Betty says, "I have done this before, which makes me think that she actually has cut his hair before.
Right.
It's like obviously she knows how to cut hair, but just like we were talking about our wives cutting our hair, that she has probably cut Bruce's hair before too. Because I don't think of Bruce Banner as being the guy who is very aware of his appearance in terms of always wanting to have a really nice hair. He's just like, oh, my hair's getting shaggy. Can we just cut it real quick because I gotta get back to the lab.
Well, isn't that fun? That's exactly what I was gonna say. This is the reason why you've done it before is because you're both scientists.
Yeah.
You're much more practical than that. You're not gonna go and waste 30 minutes at a Supercuts or whatever to get your hair cut.
Right.
That's, my other option on the cold open was when I was a freshman at ASU, the college basketball coach at that time was Bill Frieder.
Okay.
Bill Frieder was a very popular. He took his team to the national championship. I think it was Michigan, and he took the job at ASU, and they fired him before he could go to the Final Four.
Oh.
So Bill Frieder was a crazy story. Bill Frieder then is the coach here at ASU, and he was popular for doing something. When he'd have press conferences, he would bring his barber into the press conference to get his hair cut during the press conference. and his shtick was, I ain't got time to do both these things.
Right.
So you all get to ask your questions while I'm getting my hair cut.
I'm going to be sitting for a while anyway, so why not? That's awesome.
Right. So that's what I thought of when I saw this scene. I'm like, well, no, that makes sense. She has cut his hair before because it's not some kind of weird thing. It's practical.
Right.
And it saves time. Sure.
Right. Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah, he doesn't really care about having a super professional $100 haircut. And then one thing I also like is they are very much picking up where they left off, like very much old patterns coming back, and like they're chummy. So as she's cutting his hair, she says, "I don't know how you've done this on your own for all this time," and he says,
Right.
"With clippers mostly."
Yeah, deadpan.
So she's saying how you've been living on your own for the last 3 years,
Right.
And he's making a joke out of it, like, "Oh, I just took clippers and they don't decide." Like, and she playfully then grabs his ear and yanks it, like, "You jerk! You knew what I was saying."
No, and I think that's his dry wit that we've seen some of the earliest scenes of the movie. In Brazil, he has this sort of kind of funny humor that pops up when he can feel like he can be completely human, which isn't very often.
No.
So I think that's a nice. It's continuing that that personality.
Yeah. And speaking of completely human responses, things take a little turn then.
Oh, she tugs the ear, and then what happens?
He sort of grabs her hand a little bit, and then she's running her fingers through his hair, and then all of a sudden there's a really harsh edit, and then he's standing there. It's like, okay, I guess we're moving into something else now, and then they start to smooch. Aww. And that is actually where the minute ends.
That's it. We weren't kidding.
The smooch.
That's the end of the minute. Like, it's literally a haircut.
They're in the same hotel room, so we really have nothing to talk about in terms of that. There's no other characters, so we can't get into the IMDb profiles. It's, sometimes you hit a minute like this.
If we had an episode sponsor.
They would be yanking their sponsorship right about now.
No, this is where you get. And minute 66 brought to you by Supercuts.
Supercuts. Want to look your best?
Hey,
want to look like you didn't get your hair cut in a hotel room with a fish on the wall? We're Supercuts.
You can see the fish, too.
You can see the fish.
That's horrible.
I couldn't even tell what kind of fish it was.
Look, here's the deal. I don't know what's coming up next. I assume the motel room stuff, but look, what this did is, in a not so awkward way, establishes their relationship, how deep it is, how, it is incredibly trusting, all this stuff. I hope we learn more about their relationship.
Yeah, it would be nice.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
I hope I hope there's not just gratuitousness in the future.
Well, it is a Marvel movie, so they started kissing, so chances are they're going to cut away really fast.
I'm sure.
I guess we'll have to find out in minute 67.
Boy. You really should tune in for the next minute, everybody.
Actually, yes. Please do, because I guarantee you there's a lot more stuff to talk about. In the meantime, if you want to find out what's going on with us, you can follow us on all the social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all the things. Just look for The Next Reel and see what's going on with us. So thank you all for listening. See you back here for minute 67. Hope you had a smashing good time. Until next time, true believers.
Bye.